Let's go to Sirach 44, and we're going to read chapter 44. We're going to start at verse 19, and we're going to flow into chapter 45 as well. Okay? Sirach 44, 19 through 22, and then we're going to flow into 45. Here it goes. Abraham was a great father of many people. In glory was there none like unto him, who kept the law of the Most High and was in covenant with him. He established the covenant in his flesh, in his offspring. And when he was proved, he was found faithful. Remember, he was proved by what? By taking his son and was willing to sacrifice him on the altar to the Most High. That's how he sealed the deal. He proved himself through that faithfulness. Verse 21. Therefore he assured him by an oath that he would bless the nations in his seed, and that he would multiply him as the dust of the earth, and exalt his seed as the stars, and cause them to inherit from sea to sea, and from river unto the utmost part of the land. That's us, y'all. Verse 22. With Isaac, he did establish likewise for Abraham, his father's sake, the blessing of all men, and the covenant, and made it rest upon the head of Jacob, or Yaakov. He acknowledged him in his blessings and gave him an heritage, and divided his portions. Among the 12 tribes did he part them. Chapter 45, verse 1 and 2, it says, and he bought out of him a merciful man. So this is out of the 12 tribes. He bought out of him, that's Jacob, a merciful man, which found favor in the sight of all flesh. Yes, Moshe, or even Moshe, the love of the Most High and men, whose memorial is blessed. He made him like to the glorious saints, and magnified him so that his enemies stood in fear of him. Let's skip down to verse 7 in the same chapter. An everlasting covenant he made with him, and gave him the priesthood among the people. He's talking about Moshe again. He beautified him with comely ornaments, and clothed him with a robe of glory. He put upon him perfect glory, and strengthened him with rich garments, with breeches, and a long robe, and an ephod. And he compassed him with pomegranates, and with many golden bells round about. And as he went, there might be a sound, and a noise made that might be heard in the temple, for a memorial to the children of his people, the Israelites. That's beautiful. Now, just want to add this here. In verse 1 and 2, I was talking to Shemaiah 1 earlier, and we were talking about this one brother who has a following, and he only teaches the Old Testament. And even Torah, actually, I think it was. And he was saying that Christ is not salvation. All this, and there's a lot of people who think that. They think it's that they just fabricated the New Testament. They just did all these things. I only look at one person's salvation, and that's the Most High. But the first thing I thought about on that, and you can think this way or not, but you have to recognize throughout Scripture, we all know the Scripture when it says that Yahweh is salvation. He really is. However, he uses individuals to actually do the work. He did it to Moses, just like with Hamashiach Yahushua, except Hamashiach Yahushua was a perfect, unblemished sacrifice. So to say that, because people say Moses delivered the people, but we all know that the Most High did it, and he instructed Moses on how to free his people. So if you can understand and grasp that concept, how can you neglect the concept of Hamashiach doing the same thing for the glory of the Most High? Because keep in mind, Most High is sitting on a throne. He has other powers and other individuals that he summons to do these things. He can do them himself, but wait a minute. He's the Most High. Just keep that in mind. Just a little footnote. Now let's just go and see a precept to what we just read, Exodus 28. Because the way the Most High arrayed the Levites, and this is important when it talks about the memorial blowing the trumpets. We're going to get that in a second. But he treated the Aaron and the priest class is something else. Let's just see. Exodus 28, let's look at verse 12. This is what he was talking about the ephod when we read in the Apocrypha. This is Exodus 28 and 12. I'm going to start at 11 first. It says, "With the work of an engraver in stone, like the engravings of a signet, shall thou engrave the two stones with the names of the children of Israel. Thou shalt make them to be set in ounces of gold." Wow. Verse 12, "And thou shalt put the two stones upon the shoulders of the ephod for stones of memorial unto the children of Israel. And Aaron shall bear their names before Yahweh upon his two shoulders for a memorial." So that's the remembrance of Israel before the Most High. That's what that memorial is for. Let's skip down to verse 29. And it says, "And Aaron shall bear the names of the children of Israel in the breastplate of judgment upon his heart, when he goeth into the holy place for a memorial before Yahweh continually." This is important. We may not see how it all fits together, but as you meditate on, you read and put these scriptures together, you will see that this is a process that should be memorialized, remembered. And what other better time to do it? Because we're talking about the priests, and we're going to talk about what they have to do with the blowing of the trumpets for these memorials. Numbers 10:10. Numbers 10:10. And it says in Numbers 10:10, "And in the day of your gladness, and in your solemn days, and in the beginning of your months, you shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings." We already figured out what the burnt offerings were. It was our steadfast and commitment to the law, statutes, and commandments, over your burnt offerings, and over the sacrifices of your peace offering, that they may be to you, they're going to be for us, for a memorial before your power. I am Yahweh, your power. You see that? So when we do our commandments and we're doing that, that's basically the sacrifice. And when we actually blow with the trumpets, it is a memorial. Because I always see people precept this, but we want to come back to this 10. But notice that the trumpet there is not a shofar. I'll say it again. Numbers 10:10, the trumpet is not a shofar. Let's go to Psalms 81. And boy, did I learn. This is where I learned something. I'm going to share with y'all when we go over it, what I learned. Psalms 81. And we're going to read verses 1 through 4. It says in Psalms 81, sing aloud unto the Most High our strength. Make a joyful noise unto the Most High of Jacob, Jacob. Take a psalm and bring hither the timbrel, the pleasant harp with the psaltery. Verse 3, blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed on our solemn feast day. For this was a statute for Israel and a law of the power of Jacob. Okay? Now, you probably say, what did you learn on that? Well, it's a couple things. The first thing, the trumpet here is a shofar. I'm going to say this. We're not going to get deep into it. I got deep into it, but we don't have the time to do that. But all shofars are trumpets. All shofars are trumpets. But not all trumpets are shofars. And that word that we looked at when we started off in Leviticus 23, that teruah is not a shofar. But you can use a shofar to sound a trumpet. It's almost like a little riddle, but stay with me. We'll cover that. The second thing I learned in Psalms 81, verse 3, is that word in the time appointed is inaccurate translation in the King James Bible. Don't be shocked. It's a lot of them, but that doesn't make the King James Bible invalid and not useful, because the Most High got it that way. But in the Hebrew, that word, follow me here now, when it says blow up the trumpet, that's a shofar. In the new moon there is Kodesh, not Kodash like holy. Kodash or Kodesh is Kodash or Kodesh. That's what means. It's a masculine noun. You want to write it down. Hebrew word 2320. It means newness. The new moon or month. That's what Kodesh means. Kodesh. Not to be confused with set apart, which is holy. Kodash. Use a different word that it starts with, a different letter that it starts with. Anyway, in the time appointed is not accurate. If you look at the Hebrew, what's there is a word called keseh, a full moon. That's Hebrew word 3677. If you want to check it out, you will see that means full moon. It's only mentioned 2 times in the scriptures. Now, why is this important? Why are you bringing this out? Because we ought to blow the trumpet, the shofar, in the new moon. There's many reasons why we blow shofar. Times of joy, times of war, there's many times we do it. But in the new moon, also in the full moon, on our solemn feast day. Why is that? Because there are at least 2 major or high holy days that fall on the full moon. You're going to see one pretty soon. And this is what it's talking about. That full moon is different than the new moon because you're going to blow the shofars up for Tabernacles. And as soon as Tabernacles gets here, look up in the sky at night, you're going to see a full moon, at least at the start of it. The other time is for Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Those are the solemn feast days it's talking about here in the second part of Psalms 81:3. Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread, you walk outside at night, you're going to see a full moon. That's what it's talking about. It blew me away when I saw that, and it's another scripture. I'll tell you about it later because I want to keep moving, so for the sake of time, that is different. Like Keseh is a full moon. It's only used like two. The reason why they don't use it, because the 15th of the month, they use the 15th day of a certain month, so they don't have to say full moon. They just know the full moon is out there. But here is one evidence that the full moon and the new moon are two totally different things. Let's keep moving. Let's go to talk about joy now. We talked about the memorial. Let's talk about when you do the memorial. You do the blow the trumpets for joy. Let's go to Job chapter 8. Job chapter 8, 20 through 22. And it reads, Behold, Hannah, Most High will not cast away the perfect man, neither will he help the evildoers, till he fill thy mouth with laughing and thy lips with rejoicing, rejoicing of joy. It's not just with trumpets. When it says memorial of trumpets, we're talking about memorial of shouting or joys for shouting. Or it can be trumpets for blasting for war or alarm. It's the same word there. Verse 22, They that hate thee shall be clothed with shame, and the dwelling place of the wicked shall come to nothing, to naught. We're going to read from the Apocrypha, 1 Ezra chapter 5, verses 56 through 67. And it reads, And in the second year, in the second month after coming to the temple of the Most High at Jerusalem, began Zerubbabel, the son of Salathiel, and I'm going to say Yahshua, because this is not the same as Yahweh Shai, Yahshua, the son of Yoshadek, and their brethren, and the priests, and the Levites, and all they that were come into Jerusalem out of captivity. So they have just left captivity of the Persians, just to catch you up. And they laid the foundations in 57 of the house of the Most High in the first day of the second month, in the second year after they were come to Juri, that's Judea, and Jerusalem. Verse 58, And they appointed the Levites from 20 years old over the works of the Most High. They stood up Yahshua and his sons and brethren, and Cadmiel, his brother, and the sons of Maribon, with the sons of Jodah, and son of Eliadon, with their sons and brethren, all Levites, with one accord, setters forward of the business, laboring to advance the works of the house of the Most High. And the priests stood arrayed in their vestments with the musical instruments and trumpets. And the Levites, the sons of Asaph, had cymbals, singing songs of thanksgiving and praising the Most High, according as David the king of Israel had obtained. And they sung with loud voices songs of the praise of the Most High, because his mercy and glory is forever in all of Israel. And all the people sounded trumpets and sounded with a loud voice. That's shofar right there. And shouted with a loud voice. So that goes in with the memorial. Singing songs of thanksgiving and unto the Most High for the rearing up of the house of Yahweh. And all the priests and Levites and of the chief of their families, the ancients, who had seen the former house, came in the building with weeping and great crying. But many with trumpets and joy shouted with loud voices. Keep that in mind. But many with trumpets and joy shouted with loud voice, insomuch that the trumpets might not be heard for the weeping of the people. Yet the multitude sounded marvelous. They sounded marvelously, so that it was heard afar off. Wherefore, when the enemies of the tribe of Judah and Benjamin heard it, they came to know what that noise of trumpets should mean. And they perceived that they that were of the captivity did build the temple unto Yahweh, the power of Israel. So you can see it's a joyful occasion. And again, these are things that we are remembering on the memorial of blowing of trumpets or shouting. Let's go to 2 Samuel and see another account. 2 Samuel chapter 6, starting in verse 12. And it was told King David, saying, Yahweh has blessed the house of Obed-Edom and all that pertaineth unto him, because of the ark of the Most High. So David went and brought up the ark of the Most High from the house of Obed-Edom into the city of David with gladness. And it was so, because it was there for about 3 months in Obed-Edom's house. And now David is bringing it back. And he didn't steal it. Obed-Edom didn't steal the ark. He just kept it there for reasons that talked about before verse 12. I'm going to keep reading. Verse 13. And it was so that when they that bare the ark of the Most High had gone 6 paces, he sacrificed oxen and fatlings. Verse 14. And David danced before Yahweh with all his might. And David was girded with a linen ephod. And David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of the Most High with shouting and with the sound of the trumpet. There we go again. So this is a joyful event, right? Verse 16. And the ark of the Most High came into the city of David. And as the ark of the Most High came into the city of David, Michal, that's Saul's daughter, looked through a window and saw King David leaping and dancing before Yahweh. And she despised him in her heart. Pause. We had made a Shema 1 this class last Shabbat had mentioned how the tribe of Benjamin, because Saul was from that tribe, a lot of the Benjaminites still had, hatred in their heart against David because he was the king and Saul was not. And so this is Saul's daughter, who's a Benjaminite, who was despising King David for dancing and leaping for joy in his linen ephod in the streets. Verse 17, and they brought in the ark of the Most High and set it in its place in the midst of the tabernacle that David had pitched for it. And David offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before the Most High. And as soon as David had made an end of offering burnt offerings and peace offerings, he blessed the people in the name of Yahweh of hosts. And he dealt among all the people, even among the whole multitude of Israel, as well to the women as men. To everyone a cake of bread and a good piece of flesh and a flagon of wine. So all the people departed, every one to their house. Joyful occasion. Verse 20. Then David returned to bless his household. And Michal, the daughter of Saul, came out to meet David and said, "How glorious was the king of Israel today, who uncovered himself today in the eyes of the handmaids of his servants, as one of the vain fellows shamelessly uncovered himself." Now that's kind of honorary for her to come out to the king to say those things. I'm going to keep reading, verse 21. And David said unto Michal, "It was before Yahweh who chose me before your father." It was before him and before all his house to appoint me ruler over the people of Yahweh, over Israel. Therefore will I play before Yahweh, and I will yet be more vile than thus, and I will be base in mine own sight, and of the maidservants which thou hast spoken of them shall I be had in honor. Therefore Michal, the daughter of Saul, had no children until the day of her death. So she was talking smack to the king for having joyful or memorial to the Most High for having the Ark of the Covenant back. But she was pretty honorary in that. Let's just keep going. Let's go to the book of Joshua, chapter 6, starting at the top, verse 1. It says, "Now Jericho was straitly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out and none came in. And Yahweh said unto Joshua, See, I have given into thine hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor. And you shall compass the city," go around the city, "all you men of war, and go around the city once. Thus shalt thou do for 6 days. And 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram horns." So here we have the shofar that the priests have been instructed, not the other in the middle. "And the 7th day you shall compass the city 7 times, and the priests shall blow with trumpets. And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when you hear the sound of the trumpet, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall flat down flat, and the people shall ascend upon every man straight before him." Verse 6, "And Joshua the son of Nun called the priest, son of Nun, and called the priest, and said unto them, Take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 trumpets of ram horns as shofars before the ark of the Most High Yahweh." Now skip down to verse 17. "And the city shall be accursed, even it, and all that there are therein, to the Most High. Only Rahab the harlot shall live, she and all that are in her house, because she hid the messengers that we sent." Drop down to 19. "But all the silver and gold and vessels of brass and iron are consecrated unto Yahweh. They shall come into the treasury of the Most High." Verse 20, "So the people shouted when the priests blew with the trumpets. And it came to pass when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city." Verse 21, "And they utterly destroyed all that was in the city, both man and woman, young and old, and ox, and sheep, and donkey, and the edge of the sword." Jump down to 25. "And Joshua saved Rahab the harlot alive, and her father's household, and all that she had. And she dwelt in Israel even unto this day, because she hid the messengers, which Joshua sent to spy out Jericho. So we see, hope you're seeing the pattern, that shouting and the blowing of the trumpets, that is what makes up the teruah, which is the blowing of trumpets or the shouting. They go together. It's something to remember. 2 Maccabees, chapter 15, verse 25 through 29. This is going to show that blowing of the trumpets and shouting go together, but they're only for Israel. It's not for the heathen nations again. Here we go. 2 Maccabees chapter 15, starting at verse 25. Then Nicanor, you remember Nicanor from when we go over this for the memorial of Nicanor. Not that we're memorializing him, we're memorializing his defeat. Then Nicanor and they that were with him came forward with trumpets and songs. So they're going to try to come with their trumpets and songs, right? In verse 25. Verse 26. But Judas, that's Judas Maccabees, and his company encountered the enemies with invocation and prayer, so that fighting with their hands and praying unto the Most High with their hearts, they slew no less than 35,000 men. That's 35,000 men. For through the appearance of the Most High, they were greatly cheered. We're going to go down to 29. Now, when the battle was done, returning again with joy, they knew that Nicanor lay dead in his harness. Then they made a great shout and a noise. That's that same, what we're talking about, the blowing of the trumpets, a great shout and noise, praising the Almighty in their own language. That's an account in 2 Maccabees. You're going to see the heathen can't deal with this. They can't get the same thing. Acts 12:21 through 24 reads, And upon a set day, Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne and made an oration unto them. And the people gave a shout. This is his people, the heathen people. They're praising him as he's sitting on his throne. Watch what happens. Verse 22, and the people gave a shout, saying, It is the voice of a God and not of a man. They were saying that as Herod was speaking. Verse 23, and immediately the angel of Yahweh smote him, because he gave not Most High the glory. And he was eaten of worms and gave up his spirit. But the word of the Most High grew and multiplied. So you see, that's why they don't deal with these type of things and their little rituals and their little things, because the Most High, this is for Israel. Heathens try to deal with this. They do all this other garbage, but they don't be doing these shouting and blowing these trumpets. That's ours. Let's go now and talk about, so we covered the joy, we covered the memorial. The last part is going to be talking about, and we're all going to be in Numbers 10. So go back to Numbers chapter 10, and we're going to break this down as quickly as possible in a way that you can understand it. And hopefully I can present it well enough for you to understand it. That's the right way to say it. This is not a shofar. This is the other trumpet, and it's going to answer itself. Let's start Numbers 10, verse 1 and 2. And then we're going to get into the definition of this one. Numbers 10, 1 and 2 says, And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying, Make thee two, count that, 2 trumpets of silver. Of a whole piece shalt thou make them, that thou mayest use them for the calling of the assembly and for the journeying of the camps. Okay, so we got something new here. We read it all the time, the silver trumpets. These silver trumpets are made with one piece of silver, and it's made long. Let's go into the Hebrew word to understand it a little bit more. This is not a shofar. If you look in the text, you will not find shofar here. This is a trumpet that's talking here. This is a feminine noun. It is translated as a clarion or a cornet. Anybody know anything about those instruments? I know a brother down in New Orleans. I love his music. He has jazz music. He blows through a cornet. It's shaped like a long tube. I think that character on SpongeBob, that octopus, or whatever his name is, he blows one of those things. But it's all silver, and it don't have any place where you can make different sounds, like with your fingers. It's just a long tube, and it flares at the end, right? That's what we're talking about, that the Most High instructed Moses to make, and to give it to the priest. Now, the priests use this, not the others. The others of Israel use the shofars. The priests use these. All right? So, again, it's a secular instrument. Now, let's get back to the script so we can move toward the term to completing this class. So, you got the definition of that. That's a Zozra. That's the right way to pronounce it. Let's go to Numbers 10. So when we're talking about numbers, we're talking about this instrument blown by the priest for these reasons brought out in chapter 10, even though Psalms 81 is talking about the shofar. Numbers 10, let's hit 3 and 4 right quick, and then 7 and 8. Check out what these are to be used for. Verse 3, and when they shall blow with them, all the assembly shall assemble themselves to thee, meaning the priest, at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. Verse 4, and if they blow but with one trumpet, then the princes, which are heads of thousands of Israel, shall gather themselves unto thee. Skip down to 7. But when the congregation is to be gathered together, you shall blow, but you shall not sound an alarm. Verse 8, and the sons of Aaron, the priests, shall blow with the trumpets, and they shall be for you an ordinance forever throughout your generations. So notice the difference. Now this that they're blowing is a long blast. So when they blow just one of those two trumpets, they know that the princes come together. When they blow both of them together, a long shout, that means the assembly comes to the door. And they aren't supposed to blow it as an alarm, and we'll talk about the alarm next. Let's go to Numbers 10:10. Let's hit that again. And in the day of your gladness and your solemn days and in the beginning of your months, you shall blow with the trumpets over the burnt offerings and over the sacrifice of your peace offerings, that they may be to you for a memorial before your power. I am Yahar, your power. And let's go to 5 and 6 and talk, because you heard about the long blast of the silver trumpets. Let's look at the alarm ones. That's the sharp, quick blast. That's Numbers 10, 5, and 6. And it reads, and when you blow an alarm, then the camps that lie on the east parts shall go forward. That's an alarm, like a bump, 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 bump. Kind of like with an alarm. When your alarm go off on your car, and when alarm go off to wake you up, it's always that bump, bump. It's like a, oh, get up. All right? The same thing here. And then, what other verse? On verse 6, it says, when you blow an alarm the second time, then the camps that lie on the south side shall take their journey. They shall blow an alarm for their journey. This is when you go to war and to be remembered, so the Most High remember you. And if you go to war in your land against your enemy that oppress you, then you shall blow an alarm with the trumpets. That's the pum, 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 pum. And you shall be remembered before the Most High your power, and you shall be saved from your enemies. Again, these are the silver trumpets blown by the priests. And we'll see how they did this in the scriptures. And be saved from your enemies. Let's now go to Numbers 31. We're almost done, y'all. Numbers 31. So it is, we're talking about, and hopefully some of this sticks. Numbers 31, chapter 31, verse 6. 31, verse 6. Remember what we just read in Numbers 10:10. Numbers 31:6 says, and Moses sent them to the war, 1,000 of every tribe, them and Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the priest, to war, with the holy instruments and the trumpets to blow in his hand. So before they go into war, they're doing exactly what it said in Numbers 10:10, or Numbers 10:6-9, that they blew these short, the priests went with the other soldiers of Israel to war, and their function was to blow the trumpets. Why? So the Most High can remember them. It's a memorial. So he'll remember them and then do his thing, which is usually and always kicking butt. Let's go to the same chapter and go to verse 54. That's the last verse of Numbers chapter 31. Verse 54 says, and Moses and Eleazar, the priest, took the gold of the captains of thousands and of hundreds and brought it into the tabernacle of the congregation for a memorial for the children of Israel before Yahweh. So after they won and did what they had to do, Eleazar blew the trumpet. You have to read the whole chapter to get it all. But the end result is they put everything as a memorial. And that's some things that we have to remember. Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, chapter 50, 13-19. And it reads, so were all the sons of Aaron in their glory, and the oblations of Yahweh in their hands, before all the congregation of Israel, and finishing the service at the altar, that he might adorn the offering of the Most High Almighty. He stretched out his hand to the cup, and poured of the blood of the grape. He poured out at the foot of the altar a sweet-smelling savor unto the Most High, King of all. Then shouted, there's that word again, shouted, they go hand in hand with trumpets. Then shouted the sons of Aaron, and sounded the silver trumpets, and made a great noise to be heard. That what they blew was what? A kazozra. For a remembrance before the Most High. Verse 17, then all the people together hasted, and fell down to the earth upon their faces to worship their power, Yahweh Almighty, the Most High. The singers also sang praises with their voices, with great variety of sounds was there, made sweet melody. You know how we do it. We've been doing it in captivity. Verse 19, and the people besought Yahweh, the Most High, by prayer before him that is merciful, till the solemnity of Yahweh was ended, and they had finished his service. So this is to teach us how to do it. Let's go to 2 Chronicles 13. We're going to read verse 12-16. This is 2 Chronicles 13, 12 through 16. And behold, the Most High himself is with us for our captain and his priests, so the priests are there with him, with sounding trumpets to cry alarm against you. O children of Israel, fight you not against Yahar, your power of your fathers, for you shall not prosper. But Jeroboam caused an ambush. See, first of all, let me just say this. What we read now is between Israel and Judah. Jeroboam is of Israel, the northern kingdom, and Rehoboam is of the southern kingdom. And they are warring. And I read it again, verse 12. And behold, the Most High himself is with us for our captain, and his priests were sounding trumpets to cry alarm against you. O children of Israel, fight you not against the Most High God of your father, or you shall not prosper. This is the southern kingdom telling them, hey, we got our trumpets and we got the priests with us. Y'all kicked them out. The priests are now part of the southern tribes, the Levites. We got them silver trumpets. Y'all, you ain't going to win this thing. Don't battle us. That's what that says. Verse 13. But Jeroboam caused an ambush to come about behind them, so they were before Judah, and the ambush was behind them. And when Judah looked back, behold, the battle was before and behind. And they cried unto the Most High, and the priests, guess what they did? They sounded with the trumpets. And the men of Judah gave a shout. Notice the trumpets and the shouting. And as the men of Judah shouted, it came to pass that the Most High smote Jeroboam and all Israel before Abijah and Judah. Verse 16, and the children of Israel fled before Judah, and the Most High delivered them in their hand. So you got two groups of Israelites. One group down another group. One group got the Levites and the silver trumpets, and you see the difference. Not only is that the righteous king, meaning, I don't know if he was one of the ones that dealt righteously at this time, but the scepter, the kingship is with Judah, the southern tribes. Most High says so. Let's go to 2 Chronicles chapter 23. So stay where you are in Chronicles. Go to chapter 23 real quick. And I'm going to start at verse 11. 2 Chronicles 23, verse 11 says, Then they bought out the king's son. This is, just that you know, she said this before, this is when Yehoiada is making his son king, Joash. You're going to see some of the similarities that happened with Michal, with Saul, Saul's daughter, when she was talking noise to David. You're going to see some of the similarities here. Different one. This is the king after Solomon and after David. Let me get back to it. 23:11 says, Then they bought out the king's son and put him upon the crown, and put upon him the crown, and gave him the testimony, and made him king. And Jehoiada and his sons anointed him, and said, The Most High save the king. Now, when Athaliah heard the noise of the people running and praising the king, she came to the people in the house of the Most High. And she looked, and behold, the king stood at the pillar at the entering in, and the princes and the trumpets by the king, that's important, and all the people of the land rejoiced and sounded with trumpets. So rejoicing, shouting, and sounding with trumpets. Also the singers with instruments of music, and such as taught to sing praise. Then Athaliah rent her clothes and said, treason, treason. Boy, they just know how to keep their mouth shut. Verse 14, then Jehoiada, the priest, brought out the captains of hundreds that were set over the host and said unto them, have her forth out of the ranges. And whoso followeth her, let him be slain with the sword. For the priest said, slay her not in the house of the Most High Yahweh. So they laid hands on her, and she was coming, and when she was coming into the entering of the horse gate by the king's house, they slew her right there. And hopefully we're going to hear this trumpet. Well, we won't, because we're alive still. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, 51 and 52. First Corinthians 15, 51 says, behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. Whew, I can't wait to hear that trump. And it's not one that we're going to blow. Let's go to 1 Thessalonians. Just keep moving past that to 1 Thessalonians, chapter 4. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verses 13 through 18. And it reads, it's 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, 13 through 18. Let's talk about the Most High's trumpet. He got one. It says, verse 13, but I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep. It's a precept of what we're just reading. That you sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. For if we believe that Yahweh Shai died and rose again, even so them which also sleep in Yahweh Shai will the Most High bring with him. For this we say unto you by the word of the Hamashiach, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of Hamashiach shall not prevent them which are asleep. Verse 16, for Hamashiach himself shall descend from heaven with a shout. Notice that shout again. And you know when you got that shout and what goes with it. With the voice of an archangel and with the trump of the Most High. And the dead in Hamashiach shall rise first. Verse 17, then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet Hamashiach Adonai in the air. And so shall we ever be with Adonai. Wherefore comfort one another with these words. They are comfort every time we read them. Notice, Hamashiach, when he comes back, he's going to use the Most High's trumpet that he's going to blow. That's the one that they be hearing, I think. Close it out, we're going to read Psalms 47. Psalms 47, clap your hands, all you people. Shout unto the Most High with the voice of triumph. For the Most High, for Yahweh, the Most High is terrible. He is a great king over all the earth. He shall subdue the people under us and the nations under our feet. That's right. Verse 4, he shall choose our inheritance for us, the excellency of Yaakov, whom he loved. Selah. The Most High is going up with a shout. Oh, you know it comes that shout, right? Yahweh with the sound of a trumpet. Sing praises to the Most High. Sing praises. Sing praises to our King. Sing praises, y'all. For Yahweh is the King of all the earth. Sing praises with understanding. Verse 8, the Most High reigneth over the heathen. The Most High sitteth upon the throne of his holiness. The princes of the people are gathered together, even the people of the Most High power of Abraham. That's us, y'all. For the shields of the earth belong unto the Most High. He is greatly, greatly, greatly exalted. All praises. Hallelujah.
This is the word of the Lord of hosts. I took you from the pastures and from following the sheep to be prince over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you have gone and have destroyed all the enemies in your path. I will make you a great name among the great ones of the earth. I will assign a place for my people in Israel. There I will plant them, and they shall dwell in their own land.